Hello everybody, my name is Nick McKee, and for my final project I will be talking about one of my favorite games of all time, Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2 is a third-person roguelike shooter game released in 2020 by Hopoo Games. In the game, you are tasked with navigating a treacherous alien planet, while playing as one of many different survivors, each with their own abilities and playstyle. As you progress, you pick up a variety of items that have a plethora of effects, and your ability to stack items and develop unique loadouts is tuned to a more extreme degree than any game I have ever seen before or since. Since its release, a variety of new content has been added to the game, including new stages, survivors, and songs, but for the purpose of this video, I will only be covering what's included upon initial release. Everything about the game, from the visuals to the combat to the overarching lore, is geared towards presentation and maximalism, and the incredible soundtrack is no exception. It consists of 21 tracks, averaging over 6 minutes in length. Each song is magnificent on its own, but let's see how they are implemented into the game itself. Now, without further ado, let's just jump right on into it, boys! For my first gameplay example, I'll show you the general formula for what playing a stage looks like. When you first start a run, you land on stage 1 in a random spot, and have to find the teleporter as efficiently as possible, while also making time to loot for items. The stage theme begins right away as you spawn in. There are one-shots for when enemies spawn and die, as well as sounds for when you interact with things such as chests and shrines. One bit of interactivity in the music comes when you're near the teleporter. As you approach the teleporter, a melodic synth line can be heard. This synth line consists of randomly generated notes that will always fall within the key of the song. It responds to key changes as well. This can make the synth passage pretty difficult to notice, as it will often blend into the track itself. But if you keep your ears peeled, it can help you locate the teleporter even when you can't see it. For my second gameplay example, I'll show you the tail end of a teleporter event, leading to a trip to the Newt Shop, known in the game as the Bazaar Between Time. The red ring around the teleporter indicates the radius that you must stay within in order to charge the teleporter. The beginning of the clip has the boss music playing, and when the teleporter finishes charging, it will end and fade into an end-of-stage stinger to indicate that you've finished the stage. From here, I enter the blue portal to go to the Bazaar. For my third gameplay example, I'll show you the final boss fight. The boss fight consists of 3 main phases, with the potential for a 4th phase, depending on how much damage you do during the third. This fight only has 1 track, but it's a dynamic enough piece where it's able to flow evenly between phases. Whenever you finish one phase, the track will automatically jump to different sections that correspond to the phase of the fight you're in. The Risk of Rain 2 soundtrack consists of roughly 2 hours of music, with additional tracks added in DLC releases. The music is fairly straightforward in terms of its interactivity. For each stage, there is an overworld theme and a boss theme. Each stage you play on is randomly selected from a pool of 2 per stage, so there are 2 possible first stages, those being Distant Roost and Titanic Plains, and so on for stages 2 through 4. Stage 5 will always be Sky Meadow, and from there you have the option to continue to the final stage, or loop your run back to the first area, while retaining your items and fighting stronger monsters. Each stage has its own theme, however some stages use the same theme, an example of this being the Abandoned Aqueduct and the Abyssal Depths. In order to progress from one stage to the next, you must begin a teleporter event, in which you fight a boss monster while having to charge the teleporter by remaining in a specific radius. The boss music corresponds to the stage that you're on and not the boss that you're fighting. And upon charging the teleporter will automatically end and play a stinger that indicates that you've finished the stage. In addition to these themes, there exist other pieces of music for areas that you visit between stages. After you finish charging the teleporter, you can visit a shop in which you buy exclusive items, convert existing items into stronger ones, and choose the next stage that you visit. You can access this shop by finding a blue altar that can be found in a number of predetermined locations on each stage. This shop is governed by a powerful glass newt, a passive monster who is pretty chill in my opinion. Below the shop exists an additional secret area called the Void Fields, an interdimensional prison in which dangerous monsters are kept. This area is incredibly difficult to navigate as you take passive damage and the enemies are capable of holding a number of stat boosting items, but as you complete the Void Fields, you can take these items for yourself. So if you're confident that you can survive, it's a great investment of your time. I believe the score for Risk of Rain 2 to be near perfect, and easily one of my favorite game scores of all time. It blends electronic sound palettes with live instrumentation seamlessly, and most instruments are performed live, meaning minimal MIDI is used. The soundtrack exceeds on all fronts, with predominant emphasis on rhythm. The game's composer, Chris Christodoulou, is principally a drummer and guitarist, and his unique style shines through in flying colors. Most themes incorporate unorthodox time signatures, such as common use of 7/4, 7/8, 13/8, and 15/8. Accents are placed in unique locations too, giving most tracks an off-kilter feel while remaining cohesive. The game also explores tension in a very creative way. Most tracks, usually within the melodic lines, explore microtonality and pitch bending, which adds to the push and pull of the passage. Each piece fits the tone of the game incredibly well, without sacrificing the soundtrack's listenability as independent works. Overall, the Risk of Rain 2 soundtrack exists as a cut above the rest and is a firm testament to the progression of modern music production. And that just about wraps up my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.